this poop's not small by any means. It's the size of a gnome. Like this thing's fairly
I can't
aggressive.
reach that.
Like
Thing's fairly aggressive.
it,
That's some knee-deep shit, bro.
Would you please heal me?
and
The defensive bonus, not the damage. I couldn't think of the word.
I was just looking at Moose's reaction. All right, good morning, boys and girls. Thank you for waking up with some morning wood this bright Sunday. We got today, Sunday? What are we, April 11th now? Is that where we're at?
Yes, sir.
We got episode 12. We're in the double digits now, and we're talking about week 413 coming up here in the World of Warcraft. We will jump right into it with Mythic Plus. We're going to have Mr. Moose take it from here.
Good morning, everybody. So the coming up week, we have Fortified, we have Spiteful, Volcanic, and of course Prideful. It's going to be a good push week, as the Volcanic is an easy one to mitigate. Spiteful's a little annoying, especially in a melee heavy group. You have to really make sure you're watching that, but as long as you can CC them or keep them contained, you're not going to have any issues, and you'll be able to push pretty good.
Yeah, this does slow down damage a little bit, just having to deal with them, but
Yeah.
All right, so I guess the Valor cap also is going to go up to 8,750 this week for those of the people that are pushing the cap on it. Basically Spiteful, like I play Boomkin in these, so like a lot of these affixes, like Druid pretty much negate a lot of the things that happen here.
Druid is so counter Mythic Plus, it's hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
I think pretty much every Druid spec has pretty hard counters to almost every affix.
Right,
And then
because
Volcanic is just a non-issue for you too.
yeah, because we can cast while moving with the spec we run too. So because what we got, if we go healer spec or healer affinity, we've got the vortex circle, we've got our knockback, we've got mass root, we got single root if we need it. Like there's so much that Boomkin can help, and then the same effect you're looking at, like even Feral having that option to help out with all that stuff too. So
Right. Like Vortex is huge for Spiteful. Blow up a whole pack, get just 5 Spiteful, throw a Vortex down and carry on. You know, just ignore them.
the only
I will probably throw that tip out real quick for anybody that doesn't know, to make sure that if you can ignore a Spiteful, like if there's one that spawns while you're running your way to the next pack, ignore it. Don't worry about damaging it. They die over 6 seconds or something like that, 8 seconds.
So
They die over time.
The one thing with that though is on Mist, you have to kill the Spiteful during the maze. Otherwise, you won't be able to proceed through the next maze wall until all of them are dead.
Right. I mean, or you wait till it dies, but obviously it's
Yeah,
quicker to kill it yourself.
Yeah.
right, that is an awkward spot like that in Spire where you gotta like kill him because you can't go on to the next like weird mechanic or weird zone mechanic.
Yeah.
All right, and then on the Mythic Plus side, did you guys see this great push event? Did you guys see that announcement? So it's a Mythic Plus one-off, like how they have the MDI. They're not going to do a timed run. They're going to see who can push the biggest key. Like, there's over 2,000 teams signed up for it, and I don't think it's like the MDI. I think it's like an anybody thing.
Yeah, it is. It's an anybody thing. Your team can sign up and you go over to the tournament realm
Right.
and just go for it.
Did you dig into that at all, Hacked, or like I just saw like the high level of it?
No, I was meaning to more. 'Cause it seems like something fun to do for people that have like a dedicated Mythic Plus group anyway, even if you're not like pushing. Um, but I'm curious how it goes. Like, so do you just keep going up and up until you don't time the key? Like, and then are you just done? Or that's the thing, like you get one chance to time this key, and if you don't time it, then that means you didn't push that level, and therefore that was your cap. Because that's how I would kind of think it is. Like,
Let's do this.
right?
Let's dig into this, and then we'll have this as a topic next week to kind of dig into. As a topic next week, we're going to dig into this great push event a little bit deeper and the ins and outs of it.
Such an unfortunate name, dude. Such an unfortunate name. The Great Push. Like, no, that's not a good name.
Somebody did a meme with Nagira with
Of
the great
Nagura,
push.
yeah. I saw that.
So, like, I guess
That was like instantly too. Somebody
Right.
did that instantly.
Oh, well, way to go, Blizzard, with the great namings. But yeah, we'll dig into that next week so we can do the research and have more information, so we're not kind of just winging it.
Yeah.
I guess key count this week. You guys knock anything out towards KSM? We still at 8, or where we sitting?
I don't even play WoW, dude. No, I haven't gotten a chance.
I think I logged on and I tried to do a plague fall on my demon hunter, which I was tanking, and everybody just decided
Yikes.
to ignore the mechanics for the first boss. So I just left.
Yeah, this is a rough week for Plaguefall. Like that last boss, Plaguefall on Tyrannical with the Reign of Death. Like, so way to get out while you could.
Yeah, Plague Fall bosses are just a bitch anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so another push week coming up. We'll see if we can knock anything off. I'm 6 away. I believe these gentlemen are around the same amount away. So we'll see if we get any step closer to KSM.
Once I get settled, I think I can buckle in and go for it. That's the plan.
Right, on that note, we no longer have Hacked in Van Watch. He's now hacked in a basement. So
Yeah. New basement. New basement, who dis?
all right, good deal.
Upgrading.
So we will pass off on the Mythic Plus side. We'll jump into World Bosses. This week we got Nergash Muckformed. He's out in Revendreth. If you're going to be playing a Destro Warlock, Unholy DK, or a Havoc, is that Demon Hunter's damage spec? Right?
Yeah, Havoc is
Yeah.
demon hunter.
Yep, so if you're playing those 3 classes, get out there. Havoc, not so much. Nobody uses the Erratic Felcore, like, across the board. But if you're Unholy DK, the Frenzied Monstrosity, it's BIS for basically Mythic Plus, AoE and raids. Not so much the single target go-to, but still, you're going to want to get out there if you're playing an Unholy DK. Destro Warlock, Madness of Ajakir. I'm going to say I
Ajakir.
nailed that name. We'll go with that. And then it's not really used like the other Ajakir item, because they named like 4 of the Warlock ones after the same guy. This one's not so much needed. But again, recap: Destro Warlock, Unholy DK, and Havoc Demon Hunter. Get out there to Revendreth, knock this guy out during his nap time. Still one of my favorite world bosses, because dude, halfway through the fight's like, you know, I'm gonna take a nap.
Snoozing.
All right, good deal. So then we'll jump right into rating. Rating has gone up 67 more kills this week. It wasn't as big as the jump last week. Last week went up 120 the week prior. Still, people are pushing at this cutting edge. We're at 705 total of guilds that have cutting edge. This week in rating was a little bit different from Might. We went in there Friday night and we knocked out the meta achievement of the, like, what, doing the weird mechanics, or how do you word this? Like doing the...
Yeah, like one, the one achievement per boss shakes up the fight a little bit.
Right.
The glory of the Nathrian Raider or something like that.
Yeah, glory achieve.
Did you guys do this at all? Any of these?
No, I wasn't there for it, sadly.
So, the first two bosses, like Blizzard's got this unhealthy addiction with poop. Because the first one, you had to go drop the little circles on the poop. And then on the second one with the dogs, you need to walk the dogs around the room. Once they hit 4 corners, they poop. So you do that with all 3 dogs, and this poop's not small by any means. It's the size of a gnome. Like, this thing's fairly aggressive. Like,
Thing's fairly aggressive.
it's definitely a lot bigger than I thought. Like, 'cause I think, who was it? I think it might have been Riot or so. I think it was the only gnome in the raid, but somebody went over there and it was basically the size of a gnome. Ah, man, I will see if I can grab
I always
that.
told Ryan he was a piece of shit.
Ah, man, where would that be? So it'd be Twitch. It would be our video from Friday night, right?
Friday night.
Should be.
Do you guys think you'll be knocking this out before the expansion, or you guys have this set as a goal?
I think so.
I mean, if they do it again, I'll definitely go.
Yeah, I didn't, but that mount is actually pretty dope. I do like it. Now I want it.
Seen
Pretty nice looking mount.
I didn't think I was gonna raid anymore, but Mist was carrying me through dungeons in D3, and he left, so I kind of was obligated to swap over.
Right. Lynkz always getting carried.
Right? Bring the value of my companionship. Alright. Should be coming up here shortly. We'll switch over to video mode. Alright, so this dog, is that the last dog?
No.
No, his
No.
health. Okay, so
the
this
first
guy's
one.
gonna die,
That's
and
the
then we'll
first
get
one.
to the next one here shortly. 5. Oh yeah, so look, I'm waiting for this dog to come out. You see me waiting for this dog to come out?
Mhm.
Yeah, the other one came out. It came out a different door. So
He turned around like, oh shit. There he be.
well, and it wasn't me that turned around and noticed. It was hey, Lynkz, the other dog's out and he's killing me. As I was sitting there waiting for the third one to come out.
Oh, gosh.
So you walk him around in a normal, you can take hits to the back. So here we go. Look at that thing. I have it covered by the UI, but like, it's huge, right?
It's a solid poop.
That's a pretty big poop.
Right? And then like people just start going to hang out by it. Like they spent most of the fight just hanging out by it for some reason. So
Just hang out by the poo. Like, dude, Mist is standing over there, and dude, if he steps into that poop, that's like knee deep.
At
right?
least.
That's some knee deep shit, bro.
And while we're at it, so that led to us getting the mount. So we all went out to. We first went out to BFA. What was the docks? Why am I drawing blank?
Paralysis.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Borealis, and I'm the only one that has war mode on. So I got there, and I'm like, "Where you guys at?" So I'd run back to town. I missed that one, but I met up with everybody in Orbis, and
I'll
here's
say go, okay?
the
So-
effect on this mount.
Okay, I will do a pull.
Wait, do we go on go?
On one.
On one.
Wait,
What?
no,
You don't
what's
do
the-
it
Okay,
on
I'll
one?
go. I mean, I'll go. Go. Okay, sorry, yeah.
We got
Not
free
on one.
spot.
One.
Go.
Is someone still streaming?
I'll say go. Okay, so
That worked
It's
out
so good, dude.
pretty well. And look at like the movement this thing does. Like it goes
Uh-huh.
from like almost across the whole doorway. Like when it rolls.
okay,
Yeah.
now we'll do it. I'll go.
Because it
I'm
goes,
gonna
it
go.
goes
Go.
pretty
Sorry,
far.
sorry, yeah.
comes back
Not
around.
one.
One.
Go.
I like the way that it like
Oh my
slowly
God!
recenters.
Reminds me
Is
of
someone?
the mount. I think it was a store mount that you bought right around Siege of Ogremar. Is that two-headed wyvern that like has
Oh
two
yeah,
rockets on
the
it? And
Sky Screamer,
yeah,
something like that.
it
Soaring
goes
Sky
all over
Screamer.
the place when you're flying it.
Yeah.
All right, you know, while we're at it here, we're gonna knock out the other clip too. So during the raid, kind of a lead into this, it was a lot of listening to kind of Kat and Drew as we did this on, hey, you do this, and we kind of just tossed around it. And at one point, it's hard to.
You're muted. Lynkz.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought that was on me.
Nope, I hit the keyboard. All right, so it's hard to kind of trust who is leading you in this. So at one point, Drew tried to direct a ride on where to go, and I altered the clip and did a little editing to it. So we'll watch this as we jerk around and see what happened to Ride.
Right, you got the debuff. Go to green. Right, go to green. Right, go to green. Right, go to green.
So mean.
Hey, are you fucking with me, dude? You son of a bitch.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Are you fucking with me, dude?
And that's what
Okay,
we do.
so the great Stone Legion Generals video I said I
So
would never
good.
do. Well, it turns out they
Oh my
nerfed this
God,
boss
so
a
good.
lot and made it way more doable.
Are
In
you
fact, I
fucking
had
with me,
the
dude?
experience of running this with my guild that I help on a couple days a week after my progression is over. Slightly tilted, actually.
Okay, I had a video playing in the background. Sorry,
Yeah, and
Max.
we've shouted him out a couple of times, but if anybody here has not seen Ride My Pig on Twitch, definitely go check him out.
See if that works. There we go. Give a shout out to Ride.
Beautiful, yep.
All right, so that'll cover it for the raid side of things. We'll move on to the WoW events this week. We'll let Hack take it from here.
All right, yeah, so the WoW events this week are some bangers. We've got good old arena skirmishes. This is a nice intro into arena for anybody. Just pick up the weekly quest, go far. Did arenas as well? Did I cut out?
You hacked? Yeah.
Of course. There we go. But I believe you can get these wins for the quest in regular arenas as well. So I mean, if you're not conquest capped, if you're not honor capped, go ahead and knock this out and get some free honor. The PvP brawl this week is Packed House, and this one is a shit show, but it is a good time. So definitely, if you haven't witnessed that, go check it out. It's basically deathmatch battleground inside of an arena. One of the arena maps.
And what is it, 10, 15, 20? How many people are in there?
I think it's
Like 15, right?
it's more than that.
I mean, like 40 would be ridiculous, right? Like to have an Alterac Valley push into arena.
Yeah, let's see.
I kind of want that now. Like I'm
It's
thinking,
15 versus 15, so it's 30 people. Yeah. But yeah, teams of 15.
Imagine
teams
they
of
put
15.
40 in there as a boomkin with Starfall covering the whole arena. Like,
Yeah, 15 versus 15 arena match. So it's just a fucking shit show, and it's beautiful. So definitely, if you like to just run around and kill people, that's it.
all right, good deal. And then you had a good topic for us to go over, right, for this week in regards to the PvP side of things.
No, I don't think so. I'm kidding. Yeah, so this week we are gonna just kind of touch on some beginner tips, either for starting arena or if you've already started and there's just a couple points that you're not too keen on. So in this topic, we've got pretty much like the three main concepts of how to succeed in arena, right? So we'll just jump straight into it. So the first concept that I like to think about and remember when I'm going into arena is setups and crowd control, which just kind of coincide with each other. So your crowd control in arena serves a lot of purposes. So we're either going to peel for teammates, use it to run away, use them defensively, or we use it for a setup. And the one thing that a lot of people seem not to understand about your setups and your crowd control is how diminishing returns work, DRs. I'm not. Do you guys know?
So go over that for a second, because there's categories, right? I'm not completely like I know just from like the boomkin side of things, where like Cyclone I can do 3 times before they're immune, but a certain one share, right? How's that work?
Yeah, so like stuns, pretty much all forms of stuns share DR with each other. So, if you're playing a rogue, your kidney shot DRs with your cheap shot, and if you're playing with a warrior, it'll DR with their storm bolt, so on and so forth. But yeah, you've got I think 4 main categories. So you've got stun, incapacitate, blind,
And lag spike.
I think. Huh?
And the fourth one was lag spike.
Dramatic pause.
Fear. So, hold on. So you got stuns, and then you've got incapacitates, it's things like polymorph, hex, sap, things of that nature, and then you've got fears, which is your psychic scream, your warlock fear, your I believe dragon's breath from fire mage is considered. No, it's a blind. The fourth one is very wacky because you've got Cyclone. I believe deers with blind and dragon's breath. So there's a couple outliers that you have to kind of learn, but
Disorients.
those are incapacitates, I believe.
No, those are different. So incapacitates is like polymorph, sap, freezing trap, hex, mortal coil, and the disorients are the fear, blind, psychic scream, and dragon's breath.
Okay. Yeah, so blind and fear. Is Cyclone in there with it?
No.
Because I know Cyclone only really DRs with one other thing.
Cyclone is disorient. That's in the fear blind category.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, roots, like hard movement impairing effects. So roots and stuff, those also DR. So if you Frost Nova somebody and then try to, entangling roots them, it'll be shorter.
This is a nice screen here. Like on Wowhead, like it has all the categories.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking at too.
I didn't realize the timing
So that-
on some of these.
And yeah, you've got silences as well. That is also a DR category. Most of the time, you're not going to run into that being a thing, because there's not many of them. You've got like the priest blanket silence, and you've got rogue blanket silence. And solar beam is a weird one because it is a blanket silence, but it's also an interrupt. So the lockout from being interrupted is separate from a blanket silence. So that's worth noting when you're thinking about DRs. But yeah, so in short, like the DRs mean that they're going to diminish as you go on. So if you stun somebody, it's going to be full duration, and if you out of that, it's going to be a half duration stun, so on and so forth. And then eventually they will be immune to stuns within that DR window of 18 seconds. I may be wrong on that, but it's roughly, give or take, 18 seconds is the DR window. So what you're looking to do with your setups and using your crowd control is, aside from using them defensively and for peels, you want to try to keep your DRs open so that you can set yourself up. So a setup will look something like, okay, this person's DR has fallen for polymorph and stun. So the enemy team has open DRs. You want to poly somebody. You want to like poly the enemy healer and stun your kill target. That's your setup, and that opens yourself up for the next big concept, which is the concept of a go. So you'll hear it a lot in Arena where, you say, oh, hey, we're going rogue. I'm going to go rogue. That means I'm going to try to kill this dude, right? So anytime you get a setup off using your crowd control, that's your time to kind of set up for a go. And Rogue Mage is always a really good example of this, because they have a go on pretty much every DR reset. So the example used before, like every time poly and stun DR is up, you're polying the healer, you're stunning your kill target, and you're pumping damage into this person, and you're trying to kill them, right? And then obviously during a go, like you're going to want to set up a go with your big offensive cooldowns. So for Rogue Mage, oh, I have my Vendetta, I have my Combustion, I'm ready for a go. So that's always something to communicate with your teammates to see what you guys can do together to set up a perfect go where you have everybody locked down, no one can do anything without trading a cooldown, basically, which is the third major concept. I don't know if anybody has any points to add to that, the go.
So on the go thing, like I've watched a few skill cap videos this week, and so let's just talk Rogue Mage, for instance. On your goes, you don't want to blow both your cooldowns, right? In that context, you want to have like the mage blow theirs, and the next go have the rogue to rotate, so you can have that many pushes, or?
No, not necessarily. So it depends what you're trying to do. Sometimes, there are some strategies like that, right? Where you want to set up a go and pop Combustion, and you want to scare them and see what they use. And then you want to set up a go after, you want your rogue to be able to blast somebody down on the next go. But that'll be on the next DR setup. which is when DRs reset on, so like on your poly and your stun. So that's actually, here, we're gonna go into the third concept here, which is trading cooldowns, because that's actually a really good question, and it goes right into this. So the concept of trading cooldowns, and all three of these really like interact with each other a lot. These are the three main points of Arena, right? So when we're trading cooldowns, that's basically countering the enemy's go. So if an enemy gets a setup on you, and they set up a go on you, sorry. The idea is that you trade cooldowns for that. So the enemy rogue mage sets up on you, right? They get a poly on your healer, and they stun both targets, and they go on you. Now you're thinking about trading cooldowns. And what I mean by trading cooldowns is your healer decides to trinket that go so that they can be open to heal you, or, you know, you trinket that go and pop rogue evasion, you know, to counter that go. So it's essentially you want to trade cooldowns in a smart way to where you're not overlapping with the rest of your team's cooldowns. So in a bad scenario, a rogue mage would set up on you and they would pop combustion, and you would get, you know, your healer trinkets you and uses a cooldown on you. You also trinket and use your like major defensive cooldown. And then on the next go, you're fucked, right? You don't have any cooldowns. So trading cooldowns effectively is what keeps your games going and keeps you, okay, I'm going to use this cooldown to survive this go, and I'm going to save the rest. And then on their next go, I'm going to use this cooldown. So your question before, where sometimes they'll do like mage will pop cooldowns and then rogue will pop cooldowns, that's kind of what they're going for, is using one cooldown and getting the other team to be scared basically and overinvest their cooldowns, overtrade their cooldowns.
Okay. So then, like, I guess I've always looked at WoW Arena as kind of like a intense chess match. Like, they do this, this is how I counter it.
100%.
Trying to counter it with as little waste of abilities as possible, or cooldowns.
Yeah, exactly. So I always use Rogue Mage and Holy Paladin as good examples, because they're just perfect examples for all three of these major concepts. But it applies to everything. Because pretty much anytime you're trying to kill somebody, you need some sort of setup, some sort of crowd control to. Enemy goes on you, you need to trade cooldowns effectively to counter their go to make it to your next setup and go. So it's really just always weaving through these three concepts throughout the entire game. And if you're doing it effectively, that's what wins you games.
And then there's some classes that have kind of limited CC, like a warrior. Their goal is more or less just to pump out damage until the opportunity comes for their other partner to have better CC. Right? Because they've got
yes and no.
Fear.
Yeah, so with warriors, usually a warrior team's go will be on Stormbolt. Stormbolt will be that that setup, that go, and that's what they'll try to put damage into, is that Stormbolt window. So you'll get something like, let's say, Warrior Ret Paladin. So when you guys are trying to set up for a go, what you're going to do is, you know, the Paladin is going to run over and stun the healer, and the warrior will Stormbolt the kill target. You guys will start pumping damage into your kill target, and then say that stun is ending on on the healer, the warrior is going to charge over and fear the healer, get back on their kill target, and you're basically just going to try to create a CC chain on the off targets, like usually on the enemy healer, while you're pumping into your main target with any sort of stun, just any sort of lockdown. And it does a couple things. It prevents them from using anything besides like a trinket or something. So it prevents them from trading cooldowns effectively. Also, if they have trinket and they're forced to pop it, boom, you just made them trade a major defensive cooldown. So that is obviously the point of your goes is always you're trying to kill the guy, but you're thinking about it in a way where, okay, this is the go that we want to try to get this cooldown and this cooldown, and if we get those, like that go is successful. So now on the next go, we have to force this and this, and then on the next go, that's like we think we're going to be able to kill this person because they don't have anything left. So you kind of always want to, like, warrior CC is actually really good for that. Just to answer your question plainly, you've got fear and you've got bolt, so you've got a real nice CC setup for your healer, and you've got a nice lockdown for your kill target.
Nice. So, I guess let's let you weigh in on this here a little bit, Moose. What's the easiest class you think to play in Arena right now?
Probably. My information is probably a few weeks old now, but probably Druid, balanced Druid. The ability to have a one button blow up everything is really nice. Fire Mage is pretty easy. It has a really strong damage window. If you're good at rogues are probably very good. Holy Paladins are top tier, especially when you have...
They're not quite top tier anymore, I would say.
What's a better healer?
I mean, they are probably still... Well, okay. They probably are top tier, but not by as much of a margin as they were. They're not like god tier. They're, in the S tier with pretty much all the other healers. Like, I think Holy Priest actually is the GOAT right now.
Really?
Personally.
What was the one... I remember in BFA, there was like the arena games where you had a Holy Paladin, you had a Fire Mage, and there was one other class that you had. And basically, the Holy Paladin would just spam Greater Heal, the Fire Mage would spam Greater Pyro, and then the third class spammed some huge thing.
Destro Lock?
Maybe, yeah, I think it was Destro.
You mean Holy Priest with Haste Amp, so their Greater Heals were like a second cast, and then you had Fire Mage and Destro Lock, and they were all spread out, so they would like pincer you. So you couldn't go to one without, like, you couldn't chase one down without the others being able to just have the solid comp.
The free casting, yeah.
Which, I mean, that's still always like a really good comp, like Fire Mage, Destro Lock, and then Holy Priest was just stupid at the time, but pretty much any healer with that works very well just because the Mage and the Warlock work so well together.
Yeah, looking at those numbers that you have there linked.
Yeah, so I pulled up Loot District, and this is for threes right now at 2400 bracket. So it's not too far off.
Almost 40% are Holy Paladins.
Right, and this is...
I think at this point now, because this is ladder, right?
Yeah, this is currently... And this is what they logged out as, so they could have been logged out as Holy, have you, like...
Based on 1,400 players, so Holy Pally's been flavor of the month for a long time, so I don't think this is like perfectly indicative of power.
Twos is a little bit closer, like in that 20 around 20% ish for the top three.
Two of which are priest, so therefore it's 40% priest.
Fair.
Right. Yeah, because Disc is really strong too. Holy's super strong. Resto Druids climbing up there now. It's good to see them back, but they are a pain in the ass.
Poor
So
little
they're just
monk
gonna
down
scale
there.
like crazy, dude. Yeah, monks are bad. Monks pump healing. Like, monks healing is really good. But if you catch them just for a second, they are so squishy. Like, if you get their trinket on the next stun, they are dead.
What's the top damage? Links.
For melee or
Probably Arms Warrior.
Sully Rogue, Windwalker Monk.
Sub Rogue. Yeah.
this is for 2s. We'll go to 3s here.
Fire Mage, yeah, that makes sense.
I can sort it by class too. So 3s.
That makes
top
sense, though.
classes.
Arms sub and.
Alright, so 2400 for 3s. See, I feel like red would almost be one of the easiest classes to hit it on. Like, I've seen so many videos of, like, whatever their cooldown is and them just wiping out a whole battleground.
It's gimmicky, though. That's a gimmick burst. Good players are going to be able to pre-trade cooldowns. So that's a big thing with once you get the flow of the game and those 3 major concepts, you start to realize what they're doing and when they're doing it. So if you see the enemy team starting a setup and you know, like, up against a Ret Paladin, oh, they have wings, they have Divine Toll, they have this and that, and you start to see them start setting up on you, you can see that and you can pre-trade your cooldown. So you can pre-wall their big gimmicky bursts, and they're not going to one-shot you because you're analyzing the game. And Lynkz, like you said, WoW Arena is basically a chess game. It's basically what it is. And once you have these 3 concepts and you start working on them, you start to see the patterns of what these teams do, like how they're setting up, when they're setting up, and you can work on countering that before it even happens, which is hard to do. Don't get me wrong. It's probably the biggest tip for beginners in arenas is play arenas. That's the only way that you're going to get anything out of, like, teachable moments, basically, is by playing and doing it yourself and seeing it in real time.
So it's been a minute since I've been in arenas, but when I was playing in there in balance, I started trying to figure out different ways to get my Convoke open. So one, like, I would cast more than normal Rigoros just to try and, like, bait out from, like, whichever caster had an interrupt. So then whoever my kill target was, I would try and bait out their trinket, so I'd be able to not have to worry about an interrupt, and then also not have to worry about somebody trinketing out of my bash while I Convoke the shit out of them. So, like, that's how I started to kind of play, was save Convoke until the range guy doesn't have an interrupt, and whoever the kill target is doesn't have a trinket, so I can stun them and get a full Convoke in their face. And
Yeah, but here's the thing about, so when we kind of went over that, right, like setups and cooldowns. So if you are spamming Cyclones out and canceling them and you're trying to bait an interrupt and you get it, and then you get a Cyclone on the healer and a bash onto your kill target, if you start Convoking and they trinket to stop your Convoke, you got trinket. That's a huge trade. Like, you got trinket. So that opens you up for, and it depends on the comp you're playing and like your comp's win condition, basically, against what you're playing against. But, like, trinket is a huge defensive cooldown. That's a huge deal. So that's a big trade to get that.
Right, so at that point, is it considered a trade or a counter, or kind of both all in the same? Like, who wins in that situation? Like, I get
You
Convoke
do.
out, he uses Trinket, but he stops my Convoke. So, like, it's a wash? Or how is that?
It's not a wash. It sets you up for a stronger go next time. Because here, like, Convoke obviously does huge damage, but it's so now it's essentially, oh, you get a Cyclone on the healer and a stun onto your kill target. You start Convoking, they have to, Trinket, stop you, and then they're low, so they're like, oh shit, wall. They use their major defensive cooldown. Boom, like, there's your go. You used Convoke, like, you set yourself up, and you used Convoke, and that's your go, and you got Trinket and wall out of it.
Okay,
So
you,
now
if you get the wall,
you've still
then you
got
can-
Incarn up. Yeah, so balance is a weird one because your go is use Incarnation, Convoke, but then you still have Incarn up, which is insane damage. So at any moment after that, you have these defensives fade and your DRs reset while Incarn is still up. So you can essentially just play safe, play around a pillar, and just wait for DRs. And then once you do that, you clone the healer, you stun the kill target, and you've been pooling astral power, so you just dump Star Surge, Star Surge, Star Surge, and that's another go. And that goes stronger considering that they no longer have Trinket, they no longer have their major defensive cooldown. So now, on that second go, you force the enemy healer to Trinket and use a cooldown to save them. Or you net a kill. Either way, it's a win, right?
Okay. So I guess from that standpoint, if you're trading your Convoke for a Trinket, it's a wash. But if you get the Trinket and you get the wall, then you come ahead because you pulled two others. Okay.
Yeah. So Trinket, from an enemy, the Trinket would be a smart trade because you are using a 2-minute cooldown, so they're going to use their 2-minute cooldown Trinket to stop it, right? So on their end, that's a smart trade, and that's going to keep them in the game, and it's going to inhibit your go, right? And it's going to hurt your future goes because now you've got more defensives to work through, which gives them more time for their defensives to cycle back. And that's why it's really important to trade cooldowns effectively, is that, I always use Rogue Mage as an example, but say I'm a paladin, I'm a holy paladin, and a Rogue Mage is opening on me. So they're going to stun me and use combustion. So what am I going to respond with? I could respond with bubble. I could respond with trinket and just start healing. I could respond with wings, divine toll. I could just load up on these cooldowns because I'm scared, right? Or what I can do is I can use my Battlemaster trinket and my File of Serenity, and then see what that does. And if that's enough to keep me alive, then okay, I just effectively traded. So now on their next go, when the stun DR resets, they open on me again, I can trinket, and that if that's all I use, and I can heal myself through that, then on their next go, they stun me up and the rogue uses cooldowns, I can bop. I can Blessing and Protection myself. And then once that's over, on their next go, they reset and they use Combustion again because the mage's big cooldown has cycled back. Now I bubble. And now, when this all goes through, on their next go, we're back at the beginning. I have my Battlemaster trinket and my File of Serenity back. My cooldowns have cycled back through. And since I traded cooldowns effectively on each go, I can last longer because my cooldowns are cycling back.
Okay, so put in like a simple term, if they're using a 3-minute cooldown on you, and if you've got to use a 3-minute defensive, if you're trading 1 for 1, that's kind of a smart trade because it'll be back by the time theirs had come back. So as long as you can go 1 for 1 on that aspect, it's kind of keeping you in a safe spot. Ideally, 1 for none, so you come out ahead. But if you can at least match time frames, it's kind of putting you in a good spot.
Yes. So that's the idea behind Arena, is you're trying to play correctly, and you're waiting for the enemy to fuck up. So if you do a counter go on the Rogue Mage, and you see that the Rogue uses Evasion Cloak, you're like, okay, Rogue, I want to go Rogue. He has nothing. So on the next go, he either has to invest his trinket and run away, or he's just dead, right? So you wait for a big fuck up like that, like, oh, Evasion Cloak, he has nothing. That's a huge fuck up. I haven't even used my cooldowns yet, right? Like, oh, I'm on my rep heli and I still have wings and he has no cloak evasion. That's a huge fuck up. So now he has no cooldowns to trade for my wings, so he's dead. And as long as you set that up correctly on your next go, you win.
Nice. And you had some good news for us on this week, right? Like something good happened in your wildlife this week?
Yeah, I missed out on Friday Raid so that I could play some 2v2 and get my 1800 knocked out. So I finally got it at 1800.
So Combatants Hacked turned into Duelist? I don't even know what the titles are.
Rival. Duelist is 21. 2K.
All right, and then I guess Moose, how far away are you from 1800? Where are you sitting on your arena grind?
I'm getting there. You know, I was like 1590 or something like that. But then I played with this Ret Paladin who dragged me down, and he played a mage for a little while, and then he was terrible at it. So who knows? You know, I haven't played this game in a while.
Terrible at it.
Right.
Have you broken 1600, Moose?
I don't remember. I know I was close. I think I got to like 1590, and then
Yeah, because I know you're close.
yeah, I don't think I have, to be honest. But
Yeah, you got close to that 1600 mark, and you queued up with some people from Frostmourne. Suck at Frostmourne.
yeah, Frostmourne. They probably paid for it too.
Well, I guess in threes, how are you guys' threes rankings? Is it something that you'd be able to toy around with, or is that where you hit 1800 there, Hacked? Like, do we have room to play with your?
No, I actually hit 1802s as Holy Paladin, just to that way I can kind of sit on that, and get all my upgrades, and then hopefully at some point maybe try to push it a little further. But no, my threes, I think right now my threes is a little over 1400, but my season high for threes is 17. So I definitely, like, you know, if we get some playtime in, I can push that to 1800 as well. But I like being able to just play with friends and, like, dick nerds sometimes, right?
So, what are you guys' thoughts on this? Because this week is it arena skirms, or is it like it's just for skirms, right? It's not for actual arena.
Yeah, it's just for skirmishes, but actual arena wins do count for the quest. So you don't actually have to do skirmishes for the weekly. You can just do regular arena wins.
And it's an honor bonus based on all arenas too, then, or is it just for skirms or across the board? It's just arena.
I think it's just a honor buff period, isn't it?
Well, while you look that up, I guess, what are your guys' thoughts about this? If we pick a day this week and us three see what we can do in threes, if we can somehow our characters piece together threes comp and see what we can push to with us three trying to put something together.
Yeah, we could always do that, man.
Yeah, maybe a good content.
Alright, so we'll shoot for one of the nights this week to try and knock that out. So watch for that coming up. You can see these three clowns in the arena, seeing what we can do with whatever crazy comp we can put together.
I think bonus points if we can make Hack cuss us out.
Oh. Now I'm gonna do it just cause.
So, I guess let's call it a shot. Think we can hit 1800 at threes? 16? What's our skill set if we call our shot now? I think we can get 16.
If we actually buckle down and like, if we want to play often and learn together, because that's a huge. I mean, obviously you don't need it if you're a good player, but you know, it's not like I'm a. I'm no arena god or anything, so I can't just play with anybody and just be amazing and get 1800. Like, we'd have to learn together and like get the comp down. I can't carry you bitches, is what I mean.
Ouch.
Wow. What are we paying you for then?
Right? So
Wait, you're getting paid? Lynkz.
So there was
I think we need to renegotiate.
renegotiate the contracts.
Yeah.
Nobody pays me in gum. So there was three main, let's just say three main pillars you talked about here for beginners when they go into arena. If you want to recap the three pillars there.
Yeah, so just kind of the wrap up there is, you've got your three pillars of setups and crowd control, the concept of goes, and trading cooldowns. So hopefully we've talked enough about them to where you see how they all interact with each other. Use your CCs to set up a go, to force the other team to trade cooldowns, and then you trade cooldowns to counter the enemy's setup and go. So it works both ways.
I think one important thing to remember, for anybody who's new in Arena, the PvP trinket is no longer a honor talent. You actually have to go buy a PvP trinket from the vendor. So make sure you go pick that up. That's kind of important.
It's very important.
Right, and that's a two-pronged thing, because not only do you need your trinket, you need your second trinket, because you need that 40% increase, right?
Yeah. And it's really only it's not a huge deal at first, honestly. So, depending on your PvP gear, if you're just starting out, you can just get the medallion, like the get out of shit trinket. But until your versatility is like at a decent level, that 40% is not going to be anything. So if you only have 100% versatility, then that's only 40%, like 40 versatility rating, and that's only going to count toward the defensive bonus, not the damage. I couldn't think of the word.
I was just looking at Moose's reaction. It's like, because you said if you're 100%, and if you're
at 100% versatility, that's only 40 versatility, guys.
I meant 100 versatility, like 100 rating.
Yeah. All right. So if you get 100, you add 40%, so another 40 on top of it. As opposed to if you're at 1,000, that's 400 you're getting. So it's
yes,
1,000%.
There we go.
1,040%.
Felt like that was like Zach Galifianakis trying to like calculate numbers and stuff.
So that's the
In short, it's not super worth it at low versatility levels. It's more worth it the higher versatility you get. Percentages.
But the Dominus trinket is one of the best PvE trinkets to use, so probably should have that anyways.
It's true. Badge is so good.
That's the cooldown one, right?
Yeah. Primary
It's the
stat.
1 minute cooldown. Those are a 1 minute cooldown now. Like, that's insane.
Wow.
All right. Well, I guess you got anything else you want to cover with the beginner's tips for Arena there, or we?
Nah, man, just play. That's like the biggest tip you could give to anybody trying to start Arena is play Arena. Don't worry so much about, watching videos and looking this up, just play. You're not going to get much out of those guides if you don't have experience to look upon while you're reading through it or whatever.
Yep. So like you said, when you're in there, give 100% and then add another 40%. So put in 140% numbers.
And 140%.
All right.
It
Well,
checks out.
I guess we covered all the topics for this week. I guess we'll roll right on into final thoughts. I guess we'll start with you there, Moose. What do you got for us?
Sounds like it's gonna be a busy week here for us in WoW. You know, with it being a push week for Mythic Plus, with us trying to get to 2K rating in threes. You know, we're gonna stay pretty busy this week, I think.
All right, good deal, Hacked. What do you got for final thoughts?
Still got to push my Diablo Greater Rift up. I don't have time. No, I'm actually really excited to, hopefully get set up here and get comfy and just veg out on some WoW. Like actually be able to sit, commit, and just play. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting back in.
All right, good deal. So watch for this week. Maybe we'll get all three of these guys streaming here as we try and push from Arena and see what we can do. Maybe like a Wednesday or Friday. Keep an eye out. One of those nights we might be able to hop on and knock out some Arena. Otherwise, we also need your clips. Send in those clips. Put them in the comments. Otherwise, you're just going to keep seeing stuff I do for this week. So unless you find other people doing stuff, you're just going to see a lot of me. Yeah, so leave it on that side of things. And then we're working on a potential another giveaway too. So we might get some merch out. We got Only Lonely. He got his mug, so we'll let you know when he gets his mug out there. Otherwise, if you want, catch us every Sunday morning around 8 a.m. Central Time. We'll be here for the Morning Wood podcast. If you want to watch me stream, I'll be out 7 to 10 o'clock Central Time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Again, appreciate all of you that stop out. Throw some stuff in the comments on YouTube if there's topics you want us to cover, or even if you want to see us branch in other games. We've been dabbling in D3 a little bit, so maybe we'll start a mini D3 podcast or cover that topic a little bit. Future things to come. Again, I want to thank everybody for stopping out. We will see you again next week. Same time, same place.